Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. Okay, since most of you guys are not available this coming Thursday, so I decided to record this lecture instead of giving a live one. Okay, this is going to be very quick and just the extension of what we learned last week. Okay, just the extension of the introduction to biochemistry. I will upload this lecture later on when I finish the lecture. Okay, so before we learn biochemistry, we need to know the why. Okay, of course, learning biochemistry can lead us to the fundamental understanding of life, because in the biochemical reaction, we will examine each of the reaction that is happening in the systems. For example, if you want to understand a human system, we will learn more about how the food is breaking down. And if you want to learn more about the biochemical reaction in the food system, we will take a look at each of the components of the food. For example, in this course, you're going to learn about the cereal, about the meat, about the vegetable, and so on. Okay, and it is also to understand important issues, especially in medicine, health and nutrition, agriculture, food, and so on. And the advancement of the biochemistry or the biochemical understanding has led us to some breakthrough in certain fields. For example, uh, we found certain medication for the diabetes, and the recent one is COVID-19 and so on. And just a fun fact, did you know that COVID-19 vaccines such as Pfizer, they utilizes the mRNA that is actually stemmed from the understanding of the biochemical reaction of the nucleic acid. And the same one goes to Merck pills. Okay, Merck is the name of the company that utilizes the antiviral technologies that is stemmed from the understanding of the biochemical reaction of a virus. Okay, in the basic biochemistry, I taught the students about the basic structure of human cells. If you are from the science background, you should be familiar with this. But if you are from the non-science, non-biology background, it shouldn't be too hard. Okay. Basically, the human cells, they are a little bit different from one to another, but they usually will have nucleus, okay, which is the brain of the cell, and followed by other components of the cells. We call them as organelles. Okay, these organelles, among the major ones are mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell, means that they generate the energy by producing the ATP. And then you can have ribosome. Ribosome is the place where you can produce the protein for the usage of the cell or outside of the cell. You can also have vacuoles, the storage compartment. You can also have cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is like a gel-like matrix that is providing suitable condition for the reaction to happen in the cell. Okay, for example, you have this kind of breaking of sugar in the cell. Okay, and you need certain kind of pH, so the cytoplasm can provide that condition. You will also have some other things that are quite minor. It's not minor, it's actually important, but not as important as the other organelles. For example, Golgi apparatus. You also have plasma membrane to separate the inside of the cell with the outside of the cell. Okay? You also have what microvilli, centrioles, and one of the important one is what we call as cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton is actually the structure that gives the cell its shape. Okay, the same as the skeleton in human body. Okay, for the cell is cytoskeleton. Yes, because this is just introduction, we won't go in detail for each of the organelle. And like I said, it can be difference between one cell to another. For example, in red blood cell, human cell, they don't have any organelle at all because they need the space to keep the oxygen. Okay, so you need to know the difference. And in the biochemistry, this can be very important because if there is less organelle or more organelle than other cells, the reaction will be different. Okay. So After we learn about the basic components of the cell, you will learn about the fundamental of enzymes. This one in basic biochemistry, undergrads. Um, and you will learn about the fundamental of enzyme as well in this course, but it will be taught by Professor Nazami. Okay, the main function of the enzyme is to reduce activation energy. This is quite basic, and this will speed up the reaction by reducing the barrier that is required to start the reaction. Okay, for example, if the reaction requires this kind of activation energy, by adding the enzyme, you can reduce the activation energy to much lower level, and this can cause the reaction to happen faster. I don't really remember the example, but it says the example can be one reaction in human body requires up to 1 million years to happen, but with the help of the enzyme, it can happen in 1 millisecond instead of 1 million years. Okay, you can see how fast the enzyme can help you in speed up the reaction. And in the biochemical reaction, usually if you see the delta G positive sign, means that the reaction is not favorable. Means that, for example, A plus B will produce C. But if the delta G is positive, means that the reaction cannot move forward. You must couple with something that is highly energetic, that contain highly negative delta G. For example, in this case is ATP. I'm not sure if I can write here or not. Sorry. Cannot. Okay. For example, the reaction, the positive delta G is 10. But if you couple with ATP, which contains negative 15 delta G, you plus both of them, you will get 5, right? Means that the reaction can go forward. Okay. So if you can see the reaction is positive, but if you couple with something that is highly energetic, this is example only. For example, ATP, the adenosine triphosphate, one of the energy currency in our body, you actually can push the reaction forward. Okay, there are several models of enzyme substrate. The two most popular ones, the first one is what we call as lock and key, means that the shape of the enzyme must match directly with the shape of the substrate. Another popular one is what we call as, I forgot what is it.